As we learned, two whistleblowers have apparently come forward with a new internal ICE memo that says ICE agents are basically allowed to forcibly enter homes without a judicial warrant. This coming from the office of Connecticut Senator Richard Blumenthal. It's coming as we're seeing new immigration operations still going down in Minnesota, which is the latest escalation of clashes between ICE and people there. And now a police chief there says ICE agents pulled their guns on an off-duty police officer. I want to bring in Maggie Vespa, who is on the ground for us in Minneapolis. Maggie, can we start with this new whistleblower memo? What does it say, and what do we know about it?
Yeah, but Hallie, basically what this appears to be, based on this memo, is kind of a loosening of ICE policy when it comes to how much liberty they take entering people's homes when trying to make an arrest. Previously, and I talked to one of our legal analysts about this just moments ago, they needed a judicial warrant giving them that authority to enter the home specifically. Now they can use something that's more of an administrative warrant. It's called an I-205, and that's when basically a judge has ordered a final removal of someone who's in the country illegally. Ordering them to be arrested and removed is a far cry, or at least a big difference, from ordering them or giving the officers access to the person's home. And that appears to be the contrast between this sort of former policy and this new policy. This memo was dated back in May, and these whistleblowers working through a group called Whistleblower Aid said that it's basically what's been used to train a lot of new hires who are coming into cities like Minneapolis. And we're talking about the other cities across the country now where we're seeing operations kick up, especially in Maine, just in the last 24 hours. Basically, the way our legal analysts put it, this has been technically legal to use this warrant to enter a home, but it's been hotly contested with critics.
Yeah, I see the skin color. Let's continue on.
Saying it essentially collides with Fourth Amendment freedoms in this country that protect all of us from unreasonable.
So you just seen a picture of what it looks like to be the Southern Kingdom. Now you seen a picture of what it looks like to be the Northern Kingdom, right?
Search and seizure. Really quickly, I want to pull up the DHS statement because they've already replied to the release of this memo saying, quote, every, their words, illegal alien who DHS serves administrative warrants, I-205s, have had full due process and a final order of removal from a judge. They go on to say the officers using these warrants have also found probable cause, and that for decades the Supreme Court has basically upheld this. And Hallie, again, that's kind of the way we're phrasing this, according to our analysts here. It's technically legal, but hotly contested. And I just want to throw out, if we can bring up the video, speaking to how the outrage here is kind of still so palpable in Minneapolis. We've had just crazy clashes and protests today, tear gas deployed, residents surrounding ICE agents and Border Patrol agents here on the ground. And take it from me, this city, which we've been in for weeks now, is hanging on every single headline that comes out tied to this story. So this only stands, Hallie, to likely fuel that outrage.
And to your point, Maggie, potentially some legal fights to come on that front. Before we let you go, we also mentioned, as you talk about some of the escalations and the interactions here, this interaction between what sounds like ICE officers and an off-duty local police officer?
Yes, that's true. So basically, in our control room, tell me if we have this sound ready to go. This is a local police chief in a suburban town in just outside Minneapolis saying that an off-duty ICE officer, an off-duty police officer, a woman of color, was pulled over in her car by ICE officers who didn't know that she was police. And he said this has happened multiple times, but he told this one story in particular. So we want to play his account of what went down. Listen to this. Pardon me. So we don't actually have that sound. This is the Brooklyn Park police chief basically saying that his off-duty female officer was pulled over by ICE officers who had guns drawn, who demanded proof of citizenship. He said she didn't have it. She's a U.S. citizen. Why would she? He said she tried to film with her phone. They knocked the phone out of her hand. And only when she informed them, he said, that she was a police officer, did the interaction end. We reached out to DHS about that as well. They basically just said that they have no record of this and they're looking into it. But I got to tell you, yesterday, Border Patrol Commander Greg Bavino was asked about these kind of broader tactics of officers stopping and detaining citizens. And he straight up said in the press conference, Hallie, these tactics are born out of necessity. So he really stood by it. And that's as we hear these stories come out.
Maggie Vespa, live for us in Minneapolis. Our thanks to you, to your team on the ground who has been doing this tireless reporting over the course of the last 2 weeks now. And I know more to come ahead of the vice president's visit there tomorrow. Thanks, Maggie.
All right, Shalom Israel. First and foremost, Barakatah Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shah, Bahashem, Rakakudash. Double honor to the elder apostle, elder bishops, great millstone. Shalom to the whole elect. Beginning with 944,000. Shalom. So as I just seen in that video, right, how ICE, is cracking down on the Israelites, right? You so-called Negroes, Hispanics, and Native Americans, right? Y'all are the true Hebrew Israelites, right? And these ICE agents, they are now abusing their power, right? And now they're able to go inside your houses, to deport you without, or to arrest you without even a warrant, right? And what does this sound like? Martial law, better yet, Jacob's trouble, right? We've been warning y'all and telling y'all this for some time now, and now that we're seeing it happening, now y'all starting to believe, or now y'all starting to see that the Bible is true, which we've been telling y'all for some time now, right? So just going back, just touching up on the article again, it's from NBCnews.com. It said ICE says its officers can forcibly enter homes during immigration operations without judicial warrants, right? Then there's another video right here that says Minnesota School District says 4 students detained by ICE. So as y'all can see, ICE is not playing around, all right? And the article basically just going into the same thing as the video was saying, right? And as y'all seen in the video, y'all seen how they had the so-called black, the black Israelite man was just looking at the outside appearance, right? He looked like he was from the tribe of Judah, right? Being arrested. And then we're seeing, the Hispanics, right? Looking like they're from the tribe of I.C.E, or, whatever the case may be, the Northern Kingdom and Southern Kingdom. And then they also targeted the off-duty cop that was a woman of color. Right, so now we're saying that they're going after the Southern Kingdom and the Northern Kingdom, right? And they're able to go inside your houses, right? So, hey, that's going into the second Ezra, the 16th chapter, which we're finna get right soon. But first, let's go into another article, right? This was published on the 15th of January, right? This from EndTimeHeadlines.org. It says Trump is threatening to use the Insurrection Act to end protests in Minneapolis, right? And if I'm not mistaken, ICE just killed the man today, right, during this protest, right? But now let's get into this article, right? Going into this Insurrection Act. Right, so it says President Donald Trump on Thursday threatened to invoke the rarely used Insurrection Act of basically 1807, right, 1800s, say to deploy U.S. military forces in Minneapolis in an effort to put an end to weeks of protests that have erupted amid a federal immigration enforcement surge, right? An Insurrection Act, and we'll read on down. Thank you for the more explain it. Now, I just let the article explain it before I do. Give you a quick sum up, if anything. Let's see. All right, so I'll just read this article right here. So it says the Insurrection Act, not this article, this paragraph. So it said the Insurrection Act is a set of federal laws dating back to the 1800s that allow a president to deploy active duty military forces domestically to suppress civil disorder, insurrection, or rebellion when local authorities cannot maintain order, right? And as y'all know, these protests been going on for weeks now, right? It even got Esau own citizens going against ICE and the government as well. And we know what the scriptures say. Let's grab it real quick. Is it kingdom against each other? Or nation against each other? So, y'all bear with me. I'm gonna have to go to Google and pull it up real quick. Oh, Matthew 12:25. So I can throw out of Yahweh. And it says, and Yahweh knew their thoughts and said to them, every kingdom divided against itself is brought to desolation, and every city or house divided against itself shall not stand, right? And I believe that's the precept I wanted. That's why I read it kind of slow, right? But that was so that was Salaki. So we'll just go with that precept right there, man. But as y'all can see, I said Let's go back to it. It says, every kingdom divided against itself is brought to desolation, right? What is going to happen to America? Right? It's going to be brought to what? Desolation. You can read about that in Isaiah 13th chapter, right? And it says, every city or house divided against itself shall not stand. So this kingdom is not going to stand with its own citizens, as in their own Edomites, are going against ICE agents and against the government, against these, Donald Trump as well, right? So let's go back into the article, right? Just going about how Trump is, threatening to use the Insurrection Act, and he trying to say that it's only going to be in Minneapolis, right? But it's soon going to be throughout the whole United States, right? Throughout the whole America, right? Even at your front doorsteps, right? And we're finna soon go into that, And ICE is not only in Minneapolis, right? ICE is, in every city, right? They might not have no. You might have not seen anything on your local news or whatever the case may be. But even in my city, we someone posting on social media that ICE is in my hometown, right? They was riding around in a Suburban or Tahoe SUV, however you want to put it, and they had the ICE symbol on the side, right? So ICE is in every city right now, man. They're going to soon crack down. You've seen it's already at a high scale, right? But they're going to crack down even more. This is only the beginning. Like it says in Matthew the 24th chapter, this is the beginning. This is the beginning of sorrows, right? So enough rambling. Let's get into the scriptures, right? So this 2 Ezra, the 16th chapter, right? In verse, we'll start at verse 70, and it reads, for there shall be in every place and in next cities a great insurrection upon those that fear the Lord. Right, and we're seeing that happen right now with our own eyes, right? We're seeing how ICE, right, are going, basically they soon will be going door to door to make arrests and to deport, the nation of Israel, bro. The nation of Israel, right? You so-called Negroes, Hispanics, and Native Americans, right? Y'all are the true Hebrew Israelites, right? So from the top, for there shall be in every place and in the next cities, right, a great insurrection upon those that fear the Lord. So it's not only going to be ICE agents, it's going to be active duty military soldiers as well, right? Along with officers, it's going to be checkpoints, right? They're going to be standing at, on every street, right? Every block, stop signs, damn red lights, stores, wherever they located at, they're going to be located everywhere, right? Let's continue on verse 71. Before I continue on, let's grab this real quick. 2 Ezra, the 15th chapter, right? In verse 17, I started at verse 14. He said, woe to the world and them that dwell therein, for the sword and their destruction draw nigh, and one people shall stand up and fight against another, and swords in their hands. For there shall be sedition among men, and invading one another. They shall not regard their kings nor princes. So as y'all can see now, it's going to, you might well apply to now. You're not even going to be able to trust your neighbors, right? Your family, your friends, your coworkers. You're not going to be able to trust anyone. Because why? It says, for there shall be sedition among men, and invading one another. They shall not regard their kings nor princes, and the course of their ashes shall stand in their power, right? And even going into 2 Timothy, the 3rd chapter, saying that it's a time of it's perilous times, right? The word perilous goes to what dangerous times, right? And if I'm not mistaken, one of those, sayings in that chapter is betrayal, right? It's going to be a lot of betrayal, right? Going into 2026, right? The year that we're in now, right? And moving forward, there's going to be a lot of betrayal, a lot of sellouts, a lot of people that's going to give you up just for money or for their own freedom as well, right? But verse 17, the point being is, say, a man shall desire to go into a city and shall not be able and wise there because of the Insurrection Act, because of martial law, because of what's going on outside. You're not going to be able to go inside the city because there's going to be checkpoints, right? If you're not a so-called U.S. citizen, or you're not Edomite, right, a Caucasian person, or whatever the case may be, why they're going to treat you like shit, right? You're going to either get arrested, beaten on, killed, or deported. So let's go back to 2 Ezra, the 16th chapter, right? We'll start back up at verse 70. And it reads, for there shall be in every place in the next cities a great insurrection upon those that fear the Lord. Right, let's continue on. He said they shall be like mad men, sparing none. We're just seeing how they just detained 4 students, at school. You see, you can't even go to school anymore without Isaac coming inside the school. Or you got Isaac going inside Mexican restaurants, eating in the Mexican restaurants, tipping them real good, come back hours later and arrest the people. Come on, man, it's getting out of hand. But look, we've been warning y'all and tell y'all these things. This is Jacob's trouble, right? Right in front of y'all eyes, right? We living in it. So let's continue on. Verse 71 says, they shall be like mad men, spare none, but still spoiling and destroying those that fear the Lord, right? So they don't care who you is. They don't care if you're a mother, a father, kids, a baby. They don't matter. They're going after who they have to go after. Who they going after? The Israelites, right? Let's continue on. He said, for they shall waste and take away their goods and cast them out of their houses, right? Then as it say, let's go back to the article, right? What they're able to do, they're able to forcibly enter homes during immigration operations without judicial warrants. What do you think they go do when they enter into your home without a warrant? You think they just go in there and applaud you, or just to say, hey, to fix your door instead of break it? Nah, they come in to arrest you, right? Take your goods, take your snacks, take whatever you got in your home, right? Because they feel like you don't supposed to be here anyway. Right, they go take your little money that you got in your stash, right? They go trash your house. They go take your food, right? Your wine, whatever the case may be, right? They coming to go against, the Lord's people, right? The Lord's children. So let's continue on. For they shall waste and take away their goods and cast them out of their houses, right? FEMA counts, being arrested, being deported, right? Verse 73 said, then shall they be known who are my chosen. They shall be tried as the gold in the fire, right? So the Lord's people, right? The Israelites are going to be tried. That's when the Lord really go see who really 10 toes down for him, right? Who really willing to endure to the end, right? Through the troubles, right? Through the things that we have to go through, right? These afflictions, this straight gate, the perilous times, right? The evil times that we're living in. Who willing to, put their life on the line for Yahweh Bahashim Yahushua, right? Hey, this is the time we're going to be tried, right? So let's continue on. He said here, O ye my beloved, saith the Lord, behold, the days of trouble are at hand, right? And we're seeing the days of trouble now, right? Hey, a lot of this going on in Minneapolis, it's soon going to be going on in your own city as well, right? He said, but I will deliver you from the same. Who is he delivering? His elect, right? Of the nation of Israel, right? Everyone's not going to be delivered. All right, the Lord is only going to protect his elect during these times of trouble, right? So, with that being said, let's grab, Salakia, give me 1 second. Give me 1 second. All right, let's go to Isaiah real quick. 59. And let's get verse 20. And it reads, hold up. Let's see if I want to read up a little bit. This is what I was wanting, verse 19, right? So let's read it. It says, so shall they fear the name of the Lord Yahweh, right? What's the name of the Lord? Yahweh, Yahushua. Those are their true names, right? Not God, not Jesus, not Yah, not Yeshua, not the damn names that they be coming out with, right? Not none of that. It's Yahweh, Yahushua, right? Yah meaning he, Howah meaning exists, right? He exists, right? Yahushua, the only begotten Son, right? Yah meaning he, Yahushua meaning the Savior / deliverer, right? So let's continue on. It says, from the west, and his glory from the rising of the sun, when the enemy shall come in like a flood, right? When you see a flood, what is it? Like a rush, right? A flood of water, a flood of animals, right? It's a horrific thing to see, right? So it say the Spirit of the Lord Yahweh shall lift up a standard against him. That standard basically goes into being able to flee, being able to escape, or either disappear, right? But our enemies, what they say they gonna do, they gonna come in like a flood, man. All right, that's what they doing now. We're seeing it how it's at a high scale, man. These damn agents, and they out here shooting people, killing people, arresting people, and they going towards the southern, they're going after the southern and the northern kingdom, right? So no one is safe, right? No one is safe but the Lord's elect, right? So it's saying that the Redeemer, who is that Redeemer? Yahushua shall come into Zion. Who is Zion, right? The Israelites. He's saying to them that turn from the transgression. And Jacob, what is the transgression, right? Sin, right? Said the Lord Yahweh. So let's go into Jeremiah 30:7. All right, because this ain't nothing but Jacob's trouble. All right, so it said, alas, for that day is great, so that none is like him. It is even in times of Jacob's trouble. Who is Jacob? Who is Jacob related name to? Israel, right? This is Israel's trouble, right? The northern and southern kingdom, right? You so-called Negroes, Hispanics, and Native Americans, right? And y'all think this is only the beginning, right? So prepare yourselves, right? And you can't prepare yourself with the guns, the 30 clip, right? The ARs. None of this is going to be able to help you. Your money. None of this is going to be able to help you. The only thing that's going to be able to help you is Yahweh Bahashim Yahushua, right? Like it speaks about it, Isaiah the 41st chapter, right? I believe it's verse 10. And also Psalms, how I say the Lord is our refuge, right? And present in the times of trouble, or our help in the times of trouble, roughly paraphrasing, right? So it said, it is even the times of Jacob's trouble, but he shall be saved out of it, right? Who is that he that's going to be saved out of it? The elect. So it's even showing you how the elect is still going to have to go through those trials and tribulations. The elect going to have to go through those troubles as well, right? And the other nations, the Lord not here to protect the other nations, right? The other nations, they're going to be in their own. But the Lord's elect and the Lord's people, he's going to protect. He's not protecting the 2/3, right? He's not protecting the 2/3. He's protecting his elect, right? Like it says, his servant, I'm just roughly paraphrasing, right? I said his servant's going to be the one that eat, right? And going to drink of water, right? While you die of hunger, or, right, thirst. Matter of fact, let's grab it real quick. And it's in my notes somewhere. But Isaiah 65:13. Therefore said the Lord Yahweh, behold, my servant shall eat, but ye shall be hungry. Behold, my servant shall drink, but ye shall be thirsty. Behold, my servant shall rejoice, but ye shall be ashamed. So the Lord, elect is going to, still be taken care of during the times of trouble, right? And now, last but not least, I'm going to finish out with Daniel. Hold on, I'm trying to see. Oh, okay. Yeah, so let's grab Daniel. I'm grabbing the NLT. Right, Daniel 12 and verse 1 is like it says the time of the end, right? And it reads, at that time, Michael, the archangel, who stands guard over your nation, right, and say, will arise, right? So that's crazy. We have Michael, the archangel, going to be able to, guard over our nation, man, over who? The Israelites. I say, then there will be a time of anguish greater than any since nations first came into existence. So this is going to be a time, right, more terrible than slavery, right, than the slave trades, than the Civil War movements, right, than anything that we ever been through. Is going to be the worst time that ever happened to the nation of Israel, right, Jacob's trouble. So it says, anguish greater than any since nations first came into existence. But at that time, every one of your people whose name is written in the book will be rescued. And who the one that's going to be rescued? The Lord's elect. But what does that mean? That is predestined. That the elect was predestined to be saved, right? Because he was already written in the book. So he was already predestined to be saved, right? So let's grab it KJV, Right, saying at that time, shall Michael stand up, Michael the archangel, is saying the great prince was standing for the children of thy people, which the Lord's people, the Israelites, right? You so-called Negroes, Hispanics, and Native Americans. And there shall be a time of trouble, such as never was since there was a nation even to that same time. Now we're seeing the beginning of their troubles, right? He's saying at that time, thy people shall be delivered. Who was him? Who was the people? The elect. He said, everyone that shall be found written in the book. Right now, I finish out with John 15 and 16. Right? All the elect was already preordained. The elect was already predestined. All right, so it says, John 15:16, ye have not chosen me, but I have chosen you. Right? We didn't wake up one morning knowing that we was a Hebrew Israelite, knowing that Yahweh Bashem Yahushua was the Heavenly Father and only begotten Son, true name, knowing that Esau was the devil, the wicked, right? Knowing, shit, we ain't know none of these things. We ain't know who our forefather was. We ain't know none of these things, right? We didn't choose Yahweh Bashem Yahushua. Yahweh Bashem Yahushua chose us, right? So in order, that's the only way we was able to receive this knowledge, understanding, the wisdom, right? So it's saying there, and ordained you that you should go and bring forth fruit, and that your fruit should remain, that whatsoever you shall ask of the Father in my name, he may give it you. Right, let's grab the other one. I feel like I'm spelling it wrong already. Destined. So Romans 8:29, it reads, for whom he did foreknow, right? Foreknow. He said he also did predestinate to be conformed to the image of his Son, that he might be the firstborn among many brethren. Moreover, he did predestinate them, he also called, and whom he called them, he also justified, and whom he justified them, he also glorified. And who is he talking about? His elect, right? The ones he already had predestinated before the beginning of the earth, right? And that's another precept, right? Going into the scriptures, right? And just going back into, ICE agents and the Insurrection Act, it's only going to continue to get at a higher scale, right? So, continue to, do the worst while we can, continue to pray, right? Hey, do whatever we got to do through the Spirit, right? And able to, get through this thing, man, right? Because, hey, we're seeing this going on in Minneapolis, but soon it's going to be going on in your city, right? And soon it's going to go into the hour of temptation and things of this such, right? And I grab this real quick before we end off. Revelation 12:12 said, therefore rejoice, ye heavens, and ye that dwell in them. Woe to the inhabitants of the earth and of the sea, for the devil is come down unto you, having great wrath, because he knoweth that he have but a short time, man. So, Trump got these now ICE agents going towards the Israelites, right? Because while he know that he has a short time, he feeling in his spirit, right? He feel like they got to do these things now in order to get a new world order to be established, right? Hey, it's only going to get worse and worse. You see how I said the devil, coming down unto you, having great wrath. Hey, and yeah, they're abusing their power and things of that sense, but hey, they ain't show shit yet, right? They ain't showed a damn thing yet, man. Jacob's trouble's finna get terrible. It's finna get terrible. But Yahweh Bashem Yahushua is going to save us out of it, man. You got to have that faith that he will, right? With that being said, Lord, well, this was an edifying lesson. That's again, Barakatah Yahweh, Bahashim, Yahushua, Bahashim, Kakodash. Double honors to the elder apostles, the elder bishops, great millstone. Shalom to the, hopefully let it begin with the 144,000. Shalom.